It's Friday, December 11th, and welcome to the reading of the Mansfield News Journal. My name is Pam, and let's begin our reading with the area deaths. John B. Bighouse, known as Jack, 90, of Galion, passed away Sunday, December 6th from complications of the virus at Magnolia Terrace in Galion. A full obituary is available on www.snyderfuneralhomes.com. Doris M. Caldwell, 95, of Mansfield, went to be with her Lord on Sunday, December 6th at Kingston of Ashland. Funeral services will be held at 11 a.m. Friday, December 11th at the Diamond Street home of Wapner Funeral Directors. Friends may call 1 hour prior to the service from 10 to 11 a.m. on Friday at the funeral home. Mary Louise Detmer passed away on the Lord's Day, December 7th. Friends may call Monday, December 14th from 9 to 11 in the Diamond Street home of Wapner Funeral Directors. A service honoring Mary's life will be held at 11 a.m. following calling hours at the funeral home. On Friday, December 4th, God called our beloved Deacon Edmund Haney Jr. onto glory. A graveside service will be held on Friday, December 11th at 11 a.m. at Mansfield Cemetery. Elsie Rose Hanner, 89, widow of Sigurd Hanner of Folly Beach, passed away on Friday, December 4th. All services will be private. Jean B. McCullough, 91, of Mansfield, passed on Monday, November 23rd at the Summit Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Lehigh, Pennsylvania. The family will receive friends from 5 to 7, Friday, December 11th, at the Ontario home of Wapner Funeral Directors. The funeral service will be held in the funeral home on Saturday at 9 a.m. Judy May O'Hale, age 77, of Marion, formerly of Mansfield, passed away on Sunday, November 29th, at Community Care and Rehabilitation. A graveside service will be held on Saturday, December 12th, at 11 a.m. at Mansfield Memorial Park. Helen Lorena Smith Hoskinson Patton, 97, of Mansfield, went home to be with the Lord on Monday, December 7th. Calling hours will be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Tuesday, December 15th at Werner Gomb Funeral Services. Funeral services will follow at 1 p.m. at the funeral home. Annabelle L. Poland, 95, of Galion, passed away on Wednesday, December 9th at Milk Creek Nursing Center. Graveside services will be held at 2 p.m. Friday, December 11th at Iberia Cemetery. Mary Louise Zimmerman, 87, of Galion, passed away Friday, November 20th at Ohio Health Mansfield Hospital. A memorial service will be held at 1 p.m. on Sunday, December 13th at the Richardson Davis Chapel of Snyder Funeral Homes in Galion. Linda Zodi passed away Tuesday, December 8th in her home surrounded by her family. She was 74. Although no public services will be held for Linda at this time, the family hopes that you will remember her in your own special way. This concludes the reading of the area deaths for today. So let's begin with our first article. Mother rescues kids from burning house. Fire does heavy damage at Hickory Lane home, by Lou Whitmire. In Madison Township, a woman received minor burns after she rescued her 4 children from a house fire at 7:02 a.m. Wednesday at 1350 Hickory Lane, according to Madison Township Fire Department. Tanya McGlasson was transported by squad to a hospital for minor burns. She was treated at Ohio Health Mansfield Hospital and discharged, according to a hospital spokeswoman. They were lucky, Captain Wes Green said. The fire was under control after about 30 minutes at the single-story ranch home, Green said. Mifflin, Richard County Fire Department, and Lucas Monroe Township Fire Department provided mutual aid. The fire began in a wood burner in the couple's bedroom, homeowner Michael Lewis said late Wednesday morning. Lewis lives with his fiancée, McGlasson, at the residence. The home had fire damage and heavy damage to contents, according to the fire department. The couple have a total of 11 children, including foster children. 4 children were inside the house at the time of the fire, Lewis said. Lewis said all children ages 6 to 14 lost belongings that are at the house in their rooms. The couple also lost their belongings. The children living at the house attend Madison schools and are doing online learning. Lewis was at work at the time of the fire. It was a wood burner, Lewis said. She was burning wood, and she said she fell asleep and woke up and there were flames all around her. Lewis said he believed it was his clothes in a couple of boxes that may have caught fire near the wood burner. 2 dogs got safely out, but 2 cats did not survive, said Debbie Lewis, Michael's mother. A neighbor was keeping the 4 children warm Wednesday at her house, she said. The couple has homeowners insurance, Debbie Lewis said. Green said the American Red Cross has been contacted to temporarily assist the family. Anyone wishing to help the family may contact Debbie Lewis at 419-989-1787. Deputy hurt in a shooting, now at home, by Monroe Chomley. The Richland County deputy who was wounded last week while responding to a welfare check was released from the hospital on Sunday. Michael Polakowski is recovering at home, according to Major Joe Massey of the Sheriff's Office. Polakowski, 21, joined the Sheriff's Office in January 2019. He and Deputy Justin Addy remain on administrative leave until next week. The deputies were called to check on Craig Wright, 60, at 1116 Lexwood Road on Thursday night. During their first visit, Massey said they couldn't find Wright and left. The deputies returned to the house after Wright's daughter, according to a 911 call and report provided by the Sheriff's Office, said her father and stepmother had been fighting. She told dispatch that her father had guns in the house and she was worried he'd kill himself. After entering the house, Polakowski was shot, and Addy returned fire, according to Massey. At some point, they made contact with the person they were checking on, and there was an exchange of gunfire, Massey previously said. The 2 deputies and Wright were transported to Ohio Health Mansfield Hospital, where Wright was pronounced dead at 12:30 a.m. on Friday. His body was taken to the Montgomery County Medical Examiner's Office for an autopsy. Addy was treated and released from the hospital on Friday, while Polakowski stayed. Aftershots were fired. Mansfield and Lexington police, in addition to the Ohio Highway Patrol, responded to the scene, according to Massey. The Sheriff's Office obtained a warrant after the shooting and searched 1116 Lexwood Road. The Sheriff's Office requested the Ohio Bureau of Investigation and Identification to process the scene and conduct an investigation into the shooting. Wright owned ARC Services and engineering business, according to his obituary. In 2012, Wright challenged Mark Romanchuk for the State House seat that encompassed Richland County and was defeated in the GOP primary. Our next article, Abraxas works on runaway problem, by Lou Whitmire. Abraxas Residential Treatment Facility officials are working with the Richland County Sheriff's Office on the runaway problem after 44 runaways were reported this year at the Ohio 39 site between Shelby and Mansfield. Captain Donald Zahner said the Sheriff's Office is trying to control the problem. We asked the neighborhood around Abraxas on Ohio 39 to secure their buildings, guns, and vehicles, Zahner said Tuesday. Zahner confirmed that 2 teen boys aged 14 and 16 who fled from Abraxas stole a Rumpke garbage truck at nearby 2175 Stiving Road at 4:30 p.m. Sunday after escaping at 10:36 p.m. Saturday from the 2775 Ohio 39 Abraxas facility, reportedly from a 3rd floor window. One of the teens has been returned to Abraxas and the other teen has been sent back to his residential county, Zahner said. We are working with Abraxas to address various issues, Zahner said. Gayanne McAryan, corporate communications manager at Rumpke, Monday said the smaller garbage truck used for residential customers was behind a locked gate and fence, and the suspects drove the vehicle through the locked gate. We're thankful for our local law enforcement and the highway patrol that got our vehicle back, she said. The truck, valued at $60,000, was recovered in Licking County in the median of US 70, according to the sheriff's office report. The teens were located elsewhere in Licking County and were not with the garbage truck, Zahner said. Zahner said escapes from Abraxas has been an ongoing issue. A recent escape occurred in November when 4 teens ran away from the treatment facility. Shelby police located 2 of them. Ashland police located the other 2 boys, a 17-year-old Mansfield youth and a 16-year-old boy from Marion on Center Street in Ashland. The boys were found with a pickup stolen from a resident on Stiving Road. The truck also had a firearm and ammunition inside it. The gun has not been recovered, Zahner said. And moving on, convicted serial killer Sean Great's death sentence upheld. Ohio High Court says defense counsel erred, but not to reversible level, by Monroe Trombley. The Ohio Supreme Court on Thursday unanimously affirmed the conviction and death sentence for Sean Great in the murder of 2 women in Ashland County. Great, who murdered at least 5 women in 3 counties, was convicted in 2018 of killing Stacy Stanley, 43, and Elizabeth Griffith, 29, after a lengthy jury trial in Ashland County Common Pleas Court. The jury recommended the death penalty for Great, and Judge Ron Forsythel agreed. Great's one-man crime spree ended after he kidnapped a woman prosecutors identified as Jane Doe. Great raped her multiple times, but she managed to escape after calling 911 with Great's phone on September 13, 2016. After Doe's rescue and the apprehension of Great, police found the bodies of Griffith and Stanley at a house at 363 Covert Court near downtown Ashland. Both women had been strangled. The vacant house where Great had been squatting has since been demolished. Great also has been convicted of killing 2 women in Richland County, Candace Cunningham, 29, and Rebecca Lisi, 31, all by strangulation, and was given a life sentence last year for the 2006 murder of Dana Nicole Lowry in Marion County. Defense attorney Robert Whitney handled the Ashland County case with son Rolfe. The state's highest court rejected Great's argument that his trial was riddled with errors sufficient to overturn his conviction. Great claimed that his defense attorneys were ineffective for failing to request a change in venue, for failing to request a gag order, for withdrawing his plea of not guilty by reason of insanity outside of his presence, for declining to make opening statements, and for failing to cross-examine the majority of the state's witnesses. However, the court did find that Great's attorneys were deficient when they did not object to testimony about glass tubes, each of which contained love roses allegedly used for drugs. The court also found Great's attorneys were deficient when they did not object to irrelevant testimony concerning a stolen safe and Great's phone calls to a marijuana dealer. Justice Judy French, writing for the court, also noted an inappropriate remark made by one of Great's attorneys and wondered whether the attorney's graphic characterization of Great's motivation for killing Stanley was appropriate or helpful. But none of these errors rose to the level of reversible error, French wrote. In view of the overwhelming evidence of Great's guilt, we concluded that the cumulative effect of counsel's errors did not deprive him of a fair trial. Chief Justice Maureen O'Connor and Justices Sharon Kennedy, Patrick Fisher, Patrick DeWine, and Melody Stewart joined Justice French's decision. In a written concurring opinion, Justice Michael Donnelly agreed with the court's opinion and judgment upholding Great's conviction and death sentences, but expressed alarm about decisions made by Great's attorneys, saying their failings were more than plentiful. Donnelly wrote that Great's attorney failed to ensure the timely analysis of Great's neuroimaging results and failed to ensure that an expert was able to finish Great's mitigation report, leaving the jury with an incomplete view of Great's mental health. Counsel's failure to provide the jury with Great's potential mental health diagnosis could be particularly problematic given that mental health diagnoses are entitled to significant weight in mitigation, Donnelly wrote. However, speculation is not evidence, and there is not enough information in the record before this court to conclude whether Great has satisfied the prejudice prong of the ineffective assistance of counsel analysis, Donnelly added. Information outside the record is necessary to determine whether counsel's failure to present particular evidence had a prejudicial impact on the outcome of Great's mitigation phase of his capital proceedings. If such evidence exists, it would be entirely appropriate to submit it in a post-conviction petition as support for an ineffective assistance of counsel claim. French, in her decision, wrote that the court gave considerable consideration to Great's mental health problems. Dr. John Fabian, a clinical psychologist, testified during trial and diagnosed Great with a long-term mild depressive condition, a bipolar and related disorders, ADHD, a language-based learning disorder, a neurocognizant disorder, and a personality disorder. French also wrote that consideration was given to Great's background and upbringing. His older half-sister, Barbara Charter, testified during the trial that she cared for Great until she was about 16 because their mother was frequently absent. Dr. Fabian linked Great's feelings of misery towards his mother and his fantasy of murdering her with similar feelings that caused him to murder Griffith and Stanley, French wrote. But we find nothing that is mitigating in this connection, and Great acknowledged during allocution that he knew right from wrong when he strangled Griffith and Stanley. Upon independent weighing, we concluded that the aggravating circumstances as to each aggravated murder count clearly outweigh the mitigating factors beyond a reasonable doubt. Great is housed at the Chillicothe Correctional Institution. Even if Great appeals the decision upholding his death sentence, it's not clear when he would face execution. Governor Mike DeWine announced Tuesday that no more executions would be held in Ohio until state lawmakers pick an alternative to lethal injection. DeWine said he still supports capital punishment as Ohio law, but he has come to question its value since the days he helped write the state's current law enacted in 1981, because of the long delays between crime and punishment. The state's last execution was July 18, 2018, when Robert Van Hook was put to death for killing David South in Cincinnati in 1985. County Commissioners to live stream their meetings by Al Lorenz. The Richland County Commissioners have decided to move into the modern age. The board voted at its regular meeting on Tuesday to spend up to $3,000 in CARES Act COVID relief funds to buy a 70-inch television, 6 microphones, a camera, and related equipment so their meetings can be live streamed on county websites or connected for Zoom online meetings. Vaccines are in play, but it's going to be a long process. And my gut tells me it's going to be April or May, June-ish for at least things starting to get to normal, said Commissioner Tony Vero. Remote meetings are still going to be here. Matt Hill from the county auditor's IT department said the big screen also could be used for presentations by people who have business with the board or for budget discussions. Commissioner Darrell Banks questioned the need for a large TV screen for presentations, noting, "In the 4 years I've been here, the only thing we've had there is the budget." Chairman Marilyn John said she thinks it's going to be a more remote world moving forward, even after a COVID-19 vaccine arrives, because people are going to be much more cautious about the spread of any illness. Regardless of whether COVID ends or not, with all of the technology that is coming into meetings, you're going to have less paper, and there's going to end up being people that are going to say, I need to call into this meeting, she said. There's a lot you could do and a lot that probably should have been done a long time ago, Hill added. Commissioners said they want to start the streaming and video conference service as soon as possible, but set no specific date. The equipment has to be bought by the end of the year because of CARES Act's regulations. Commissioners also spent time on Tuesday discussing a broad menu of possible delivery systems which local officials could use to get the message to the public about the best way to respond to the constantly changing COVID-19 crisis. The list was developed by Jay Miller of DRM Productions from ideas discussed by a local emergency operations committee that included billboards, traditional media ads, digital message boards, and social media options. Commissioner Darrell Banks said he has a problem spending money on most of the options on the list. I don't think we're going to tell anyone anything they haven't already seen or heard, he said. I know we have to stop the spread, but we also have businesses out there that are dying, and their employees, the single mothers who work there, who are out of work, and for us to go out and spend a whole lot of money, I don't know. John said the fact that the number of hospitalizations is going up resonates with people and that it's really important to remind them to wash their hands, social distance, and do other things because of this. I think it's more effective to give people options of what we can do versus just telling people what they can't do, she said. I don't know what those answers are, but we have to also work on getting the positive message out. Commissioners voted to spend $25,000 in CARES dollars on a video to be used on social media, digital billboards, and radio ads through the end of the year. The total includes $5,000 to $8,000 for a video for social media, $5,000 for the digital billboards, and the rest for radio ads. Budget cuts discussed. Commissioners spent the rest of the morning and an hour in the afternoon reviewing department and agency budgets to find places to cut. The board said earlier this month that they're going to have to cut around $4.2 million from a proposed $40.7 million in the 2021 general fund spending requests in order to match projected income. Commissioners' main concern was that most proposed budgets include 3% increases in their salary line items. They asked Clerk Stacy Krall to provide her best figure to show how much salary expenses for 2020 will be by the end of the year. If 2020 salaries come in and it's not $3 million less than the 2021 requests for salaries, then we have to go back to the drawing board and look somewhere else for making cuts because we're not going to get it out of salaries, John said. And now, a tip from FedEx leads to Crestline man's arrest. A package delivered to a house contained pills, suspected marijuana. A Crestline man was arrested Tuesday after investigators followed up on a tip from FedEx that a package containing drugs was headed for his home. According to a news release from the Crawford County Sheriff's Office, David Fuson, 56, of 916 Park Road, Crestline, was taken to Crawford County Justice Center and held for investigation. Officers were tipped off that a package containing drugs had been intercepted by FedEx, according to a news release. The package to be delivered contained 75 suspected oxycodone, OxyContin pills, and suspected marijuana. With a search warrant, detectives used an undercover officer to deliver the package to Fuson. Once the officer made contact with Fuson, other officers moved in and arrested the suspect. The Crawford County Sheriff's Office was assisted by Metric, Crestline, and Gallion Police Departments. Officers searched the resident and found other pills, marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and firearms, according to the news release. Fuson was taken to jail, pending charges. Well, a new ambulance arrives at Bucyrus Fire Department as firefighters prepare for a toy drive, by Jerry Goebel. It's a busy week at the Bucyrus Fire Department. On Tuesday, the department welcomed delivery of an ambulance, its second new vehicle this year. On Saturday, the firefighters will have their annual toy drive and give Santa Claus a ride as he parades across town. On October 20th, council members approved spending $292,484 in CARES Act funding to purchase the 2020 four-wheel drive ambulance, a power loading cot system, an ultraviolet air purification system, and an ultraviolet surface disinfection lamp, the TF reported previously. Meeting the CARES Act stipulation that the city had to accept delivery by the end of the year made it a difficult task to find the right vehicle, but the department was able to purchase a demo unit, eliminating the wait time for a custom truck. Acting Fire Chief Chad Schwemle said, "The new Lifeline ambulance on a Ford F550 chassis was most definitely needed, especially with the potential of what's coming up, with us potentially taking over EMS for the city and possibly helping out with the townships. It was definitely needed," he said. Last month, members of Bucyrus City Council unanimously voted to leave the Central Joint Ambulance District at the end of 2021, leaving the city solely responsible for providing emergency medical services within city limits. Council members plan to decide early in 2021 whether that will mean having the fire department handle all calls or contacting with an ambulance provider. At that time, Mayor Jeff Racer said city officials would meet with representatives of townships that would like to partner with the city for emergency services. Even though the department has gotten by with a single squad for more than 25 years, there are benefits to having two ambulances, Schwemle said. Having the second squad allows for one to be down for service, he said. A couple months ago, we actually had Galleon's spare squad over at our station for about a week and a half because ours was down for service. When they start getting some age to them, they're not as reliable. The other one's 10 years old, so we'll move that back to a reserve capacity so it won't be first out. How much longer the older truck, which was purchased in 2015, lasts will depend on a lot of the role the department ends up playing in EMS, Schwemle said. If we become the main provider, another squad will be definitely needed in the near future, he said, most generally in the fire service. They tend to rotate them out every 5 to 7 years. The new ambulance includes a lot of updated equipment, Schwemle said. The ride in them is a lot better. It's called Liquid Spring, he said. The ride is a lot easier on the patients in the back. Its compartment setup will enable firefighters to do dual-purpose runs for firefighting and EMS. In April, the department accepted delivery of a new Sutphen pumper truck with a rescue body, a 2,000-gallon per-minute pump, and a 30-gallon foam cell. It holds 1,000 gallons of water. The fire station at 223 East Mansfield Street has been getting a little crowded, Schwemle acknowledged. Since we got rid of Engine 1 this fall, it gave us some room, he said. They store the one reserve out as the water garage, and that freed us up some room in the station. The man who purchased the old Engine 1 had it sent to South America, he said. It just made it, so Engine 1 is back in service down in Belize, I believe. Adding 2 vehicles in 1 year was a pretty good accomplishment, Schwemle said. Early in 2021, the city will have a new fire chief, too. As part of a lawsuit settlement announced in December 2019, Chief Jay Keller's retirement becomes effective January 1. Keller has been on paid administrative leave this year, with Schwemle serving as acting chief. The new chief will be selected through the civil service testing process, Schwemle said. I plan on taking that test and hopefully getting that position to be permanent, he said. It's been an interesting year, to say the least, but we're finally making it through it. The year will finish up with the return of long-standing tradition at the firehouse. Bucyrus Firefighters Local Number 1120 will have its annual toy drive from 9 a.m. to noon on Saturday. We're doing the same as before. The drop off where they get to drive around through the station, Swimley said. We accept new, packaged toys, and we also take cash donations. The cash is used to provide coats. Donors can stay in their cars, and firefighters will unload the toys, with precautions taken to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The other thing that we're doing on Saturday morning is we'll be taking Santa Claus around, he said. Starting at 10 a.m., Santa, accompanied by a police escort, will travel across Bucyrus in one of the city's fire trucks, waving greetings to children along his route, which will weave through town from Bucyrus High School to family farm and home. Firefighters are still working out which fire truck will get the honor of carrying St. Nick, Schwemley said. Weather and availability of a driver for the city's antique truck are a factor. We don't have too many guys that can drive it, he said. It's a standard and it's a little tricky, a little different. And up next, Stingle Elementary School to host a drive-through Santa. In Ontario, Stingle Elementary School wants to make sure its students have a chance to say hello to Santa this holiday season. So the school will host a drive-through Santa event on December 17th, weather permitting. Students in preschool through second grade are invited from 4 to 4:45, while those in grades 3 through 5 are asked to come from 4:45 to 5:30. The school will give each student a treat and a free book to all who attend. School officials say to keep everyone safe, Santa will be waving to students as they pass in their cars. Staff will also be collecting the students' wish lists for Santa. Well, that concludes the reading of the Mansfield News Journal for Friday, December 11th. My name is Pam. Thank you for allowing me into your home. Please stay safe, be abundantly blessed, and do what you can do to make today a really great day.